think we're kind of ready. Yep. So, welcome everyone. Today, as you know, we'll be talking about unleashing the power of 360 marketing. We have a really limited time, so we'll try to cover as many topics as we can. So before we just dig in, I'm Bugra, I'm working with Playsense. What we focus on is basically CGI trailers and marketing services for AA and AAA studios mostly. So I'll just give the word to you guys, some quick intros, and we can just begin.
Sure. I'm AD. I'm the CEO of Cetiner. We are the world's first ever TikTok influencer marketing agency. Been doing TikTok marketing for about 7 years now, since before TikTok even existed. We were working with their predecessor, which was Musical.ly. And yeah, we've run a couple hundred influencer marketing campaigns a year, and that's me.
Hi everyone, I'm Yael. I used to work at Playsense, Meta Gaming, and now I joined .eco, a platform that's doing real world environmental rewards. We're working with a lot of gaming companies, trying to combine having fun with saving the world, basically. This is me in a nutshell.
Right. Hi everyone. My name is Amit. I'm from a company called HTTPool. We are part of Aleph Holding Group. What we do basically is we represent most of the social media channels, Meta, TikTok, Reddit, in the markets where they're not physically present. Our goal is to just help any level of advertisers, any industry, to leverage these platforms to the most profitable ways. So that's it. My background, if I can just say, like mix of marketing, operations, business development, and all in all now the main focus is to work a lot with game publishers.
Thank you. Thank you. So I said let's begin, right?
Yeah.
So before we move on to the marketing, so we have tons of marketeers here, right? So the first thing that we talk about is the audience, right? So even before going into the brainstorming sessions, even beginning to talk about the marketing itself, we have to understand your audience. So that's the key point before moving on. So I would ask you, Yael, this one. So how important it is to understand your audience, and what factors should we be just thinking about it and thinking about our audience?
So I think all of us here are relating to something as human beings. People doing things based on emotions and feelings. So for example, let's take thoughts as a way of being. A lot of people will integrate into your game or feel connected into your game if they will feel that you have a certain agenda except of just making a game. So I think when you think about your brand as a whole, you need to better understand your audience, the way they think, the way they work, what makes them feel special in this world, and taking under consideration also demographics, different cultures, way of thinking, way of speaking, and try to be connected to them as like you are part of the family of friends. Like think in their minds and not as in your mind as a marketer. Like the way I like to do things is, for example, if I'm working with Bugra on a special activity with the dots, so I will try to understand for these users, players, what will make that they did something different, that they feel connected to me as a gaming company, but also as something to do in the world.
So basically, we just need to be more organic and reaching out to them.
Yeah, like think about yourself when you go and purchase something. I don't know, like I'm a Nike girl, Adidas girl. Like I love to run with Adidas. Why? Because I feel connected to the brand, to the fact that they cleaning plastic from the ocean, doing a lot of things that are really important to me as a human being. All of us are buying things or connected to a lot of brands. Doesn't really matter if it's gaming, if it's like even TV, if it's the phone that you buy. All of us are feeling connected to a greater cause, and a lot of brands are trying to tell a different story. Just make sure that you do yours. You will connect to the audience that you are targeting to.
So, like, basically we also have another kind of problem in reaching to our audiences when it comes to different game genres and also different platforms. That raises a lot of questions as well. Would you like to point on that one, Amit?
Yeah. So you mean in terms of different approaches?
Yeah, to the audiences basically.
So
when it comes to genres or platforms.
So to add to what Yael said, when you talk about people, they are going to these channels for their own reasons. So when you talk about different genres, to keep it very simple, let's say hyper casual, casual, mid-core, and core. So it makes sense for hyper casual audience to show them that they can spend 10 minutes nicely. For example, purely talking about marketing strategies. So when you show them what they can do for those 10 minutes nicely, they are likely to engage. But you have to think in terms of what those channels that they are leveraging. And in terms of marketing strategies, also when you translate that into how much you invest into it, and when you're just starting off, your initial objective should look like, okay, how low CPI should be. So for hyper casual, for example, because people are willing to pay for something so simple, your main and number one goal is ad monetization. So you have to balance it in a way that you show what the ad looks like. It's not too pushy the ad in terms of, because nobody wants to say this, you don't want to lose their customers. So that's pretty new for casual and hyper casual. When you talk about mid-core and look at overall marketing objectives, the goal there is different because the monetization model is different. You're looking for in-app purchases, subscriptions, and so on and so forth. So when you consider that, you have to put more value into your creatives. When you talk about hyper casual, you can play the whole positioning model towards how creative hooks are, but for mid-core and core games, you have to think about how the audiences engage with a little bit more value. So they expect, because if you expect to pay them, or you play longer your game, so you get them more value, like what the in-games are, what the dynamics look like, so it's more towards the gameplay. So that's the overall creative hook. If I can add a little bit more towards platforms, so when you, of course, PC and console games are growing every year, but not to forget that we are looking at more mobile games. So the obvious question is iOS versus Android. So here, most of the publishers in the world, 70% bulk of the profits come from iOS. So you have to think in mind why it's working. If you talk about hyper casual, you have to look for the platforms like Android, and works there as well. So you have to holistically look at what the picture looks like for which channel, which platform, and put together what your basically title and IP is for.
Yeah, thank you. I totally agree on that. Like, if you don't understand your audience, what they want, it will be really hard to reach them, to understand their needs as well, and it should be reflected on your marketing as well. So, another problem that we have seen in the market is that up-and-coming studios are struggling a lot with community building, influencer marketing, and so on. I think that's your kind of expertise area. So how would you like to say, it's a really significant role when it comes to influencers, right? So it's basically selling the game. So how can basically marketers do such amazing campaigns with influencers? So what should be the factors that should be considered?
So the most important aspect is to make sure that you know what you're looking for and you know what you're focusing on. So the biggest mistake that I see gaming companies do when it comes to marketing on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or any social media platform is having the wrong KPIs. Either having the wrong KPIs or not having any KPIs. They come into it just expecting to see what's going to happen, and then they're disappointed because they have no idea what they were expecting in the first place. So when it comes to influencer marketing, the most important aspect of it, in my opinion, is to make sure you know what you're looking for. Usually what we look for is CPM rates and views. Our goal is how can we get as many people to see our client's brand or our client's game at the lowest cost to the client. We want to get as many eyeballs on this product at the lowest dollar spent. And when you're looking at that, you come up with metrics where you go, we don't want to get higher than a $4 CPM. We don't want to go higher than a $50 CPM, whatever that metric is. And then it's very simple to know, like, were your marketing efforts successful or not? You see what the results were. Did you hit that CPM goal? Did you go over? Did you go below? And then you know how to move forward with your marketing objectives now that you have those clear KPIs in mind.
Okay, that's really, so it's basically more than focusing on the name of the influencer, you should be focusing on the numbers and what they will do basically, bring it in, right?
Exactly.
Right, so, so another thing is that, like, there are already a campaign running for the game, or for the product that you're marketing, right? So you need to basically implement an influencer campaign, the community-driven background. So what are some do's and don't do's there?
The biggest don't is don't look at followers. The biggest mistake people do is they look at someone and they say, this guy has 30 million followers.
Yes.
He must be huge, he must be great. But 30 million followers with an average 1,000 views is worth less than my 6-year-old brother. Like, he can probably promote your game better. So it's really important to look at the views, the engagement, the content, everything around the follower number to really decide if that's an influencer that you want to work with. Another don't is make sure that you're working with content that aligns with your brand. If you are a family-friendly game and you're using a OnlyFans influencer to promote your game, you're probably using the wrong type of influencer. Vice versa, if you're an 18 plus brand or an 18 plus game and you're using an OnlyFans influencer, then that's exactly what you should be doing. So it's really important to make sure that the content of the influencer actually aligns with your brand, and very similar to what Yael said, it aligns with your story and gives your demographics, your followers, your users, the reason to believe in your game and to use your game.
Okay, thank you. It makes sense. Never thought about boss APs, but okay. That works.
Yep.
Yeah, OnlyFans works. All right, that's fun. So, Yael, would you like to give us some kind of examples that you have seen kind of like influencer marketing, let's say?
I will take it, let's say, for the community point of view. In my time in Politica, but also here in Docs, like for example, when we did a huge community integration, let's say, with Bugra. Actually, Bugra wanted to do something really huge, and they engaged their community asking, okay, which impact do you want to do? And they chose to save a snow leopard. So the way it went is like they needed to collect collectibles into the game. And in that way, the community was so engaged, so that because there is a community goal. So the power of the community here, it's huge. How many times think about you as human beings, but also as players or like gaming company owners? Your community basically is your users. So speak with them, communicate with them, let them choose, sometimes choose, let them feel that they are part of the game that you are building. And I think when you do so, you will see the impact going incrementally. What Bugra did, and actually won a huge prize from the UN, like Players' Choice, and also making an impact from the UN. They saved, they want to donate it, like they saved 500K snow leopard area, and they saved a lot of animals. In that way, their players felt that except of just enjoying the game and the gameplay and engagement with this kind of activity and doing like new content into the game, they as a community felt that they are combining forces to do something better out there. Like it's a combination force of in-game and out-game together, and I think when you combine the both, the whole way of bringing into your game, like metric perspective, will be better than using only one channel.
Yeah, so you basically create motivation for greater goods.
Yeah, they
They're just
feel
jumping in and
exactly
being like partners.
They feel that they get like a silent partner
Yep.
into your game progression, or let's say game development, which is not true, but that is what they feel. So I think it's important because, as I said in the beginning, everything starts and it ends with feelings, and when you let your players feel is important and part of the process, they will always engage better with your game, with your content, whatever.
Thank you. So we also have like multi-platform marketing that we are always talking, omni-channels, and all the terms are just flying around, but like when we go into that, it's always hard to keep the consistent message going on, right? So what would your take on this one, and so how we can keep that message consistent when it comes to omni-channel marketing?
Yeah, I think
Multi-platform, that's it.
yes, I think the approach is quite straightforward. I would say we have to get used to the fact that everything is scrolling-based mechanism these days. Depends on what the channel is looking for. So that's what we have to adapt to. And multi-channel also means you have to speak to the nativeness of it. So when you look at Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, Meta, you have to understand what's working and what are the dynamics of each of the platforms. Of course, you can apply some learnings that you have in video-based and apply on other channels. But on TikTok, it's purely video-based. You are thinking in terms of the short attention span for users, where you have to get their attention within the first second to make them view the rest of it. So that's important to understand. Another aspect of multi-channel is that for Meta, TikTok, and Reddit, it works differently. So Reddit, I would just say that you have also to keep in mind again about the consistency. So Reddit people are reading a lot. You will not expect people on TikTok to read a lot. They are there to view. They enjoy their interest, what is funny videos. But videos can also apply to Reddit, but there your performance will be better if you have something text related. Same thing on Twitter. Meta sits somewhere in between if you think about multi-channel strategy, where it's a bit, it sits in between Twitter and TikTok. So you can play, of course, with the scrolling experience, but then also people are reading there. So they don't want to, end of the day, once again, I would just zoom out to say, be native. So if your ad is purely ad, nobody wants to watch that. Obviously, nobody wants to watch that. So if you dive into that nativeness of the channel and see what people are looking for and why they are there, then it works better. To add a little bit more about, in terms of channels itself, it's overwhelming to think which channel works best, where to start. So, usually it's recommended to start first with bigger networks with wider audience like Meta, TikTok, and of course Google. Use those learnings and apply to other networks as well, just so that when you are going with multiple strategies, multi-channel strategies, it's consistent overall, because you're not trying to test new, to spend a lot of money, to just get initial value that you derive from, that's a success from TikTok, Meta, etc. So this is to keep in mind about how it works, but overall, be native.
Yeah. Any experience that you can share with us? Kind of small one?
Yeah, so there were several games, I can't name the names, of course, but they had a big community following on Reddit. So even without doing a lot more, they invested in a lot more for organic growth, a lot more for content creation on Reddit. It was a lot of text-based, of course, display ads, and worked greatly with much smaller budget, and they are spending 5 figures per day. It was never initially their plan. They didn't even know what to go out for, but they saw the community was already built around their game. They just tried to just delve into it, and they were able to monetize. So that's one key example from the recent client. But same we can say for TikTok. So TikTok style video format works very well, because if it's engaging, you get the attention. That's first. Second, people like to view that. They will, if they find it funny and interesting, they will continue watching. So here the goal is not just to optimize towards the first couple seconds, but just see how long they watch the video, at least to half of the video, then okay, those are the right audiences you're looking for.
Thank you. So another thing that's been flying around for a couple of years is storytelling. So everyone is just really hyped about the word when it comes to giving the customer what they want, creating that emotional bond that is deserved. But there's always a limit to that, right? So how we can just create that marketing strategy with a storytelling purpose, but not giving not that much to the customer, basically creating that balance. So how would you think about that?
So it's a funny, because my friends are always saying that I'm living storytelling as a way of being. I think storytelling, think about it be very authentic. Like when you build a game, usually you have a storyline, you have characters, you have a lot of things that you build and think that your user will want to engage with. Sometimes we are dreaming, sometimes it's actually true. But when you build it, think about it like a movie. Like you will not want to go and see a movie if you know the end already. Because you need to give the right teaser in order for them to start to imagine them being part of this universe and creating their own, words really depend on the genre. But let's say, for example, let's take casual games. There's a lot of storytelling into casual games.
Yeah.
You have a lot of match 3 out there. Not all of them are the same. It's like you can feel connected to the main characters. You can feel connected to the brand as a brand. Like I can tell you, in my point of view, a lot of gaming companies that will put women as a main character, I can associate with that, because I think we need to put more women as main characters into the game. So I will at least try to play this game. Maybe I will not like it, but it's a different story. But the storytelling of it, for sure will want to play it. So make sure that if you have agenda as a gaming company, put it in your storytelling. Like if you do something special, make sure that they will know. And again, it will make them connect with your brand as well and connect all the dots that we just spoke about. It's like you always need to think about it 360.
Yeah.
It's not only storytelling, it's actually what makes your company unique in the way she built the game or the way you work, and then vice versa, go from there and then build the storytelling from there.
It makes sense. Like when it comes to semantics, we do the same thing. We just onboard them in the beginning for 10 seconds, then leave the mystery for them to solve afterwards. Let's have them on board.
It's like dating. Little
a little bit of giving or nothing.
Don't give anything in the first date. let them chase you a bit, you know?
So basically that creates retention as well. So, so we've been talking a lot of different topics, but like, when it comes to another thing that the studios are failing to understand, pre-launch and post-launch marketing strategies as well. Like, so some of them just moving basically with their full force even before the game is launched, and then they don't know what to do after launch actually. So how would you differ those strategies? And then so pre-launch and post-launch.
Pre-launch and post-launch. Okay, so 1 hour. Yes, we have. One
One more hour.
So no, so just to keep it as simple as possible. So pre-launch. Not that everybody has budgets like, let's say, Red Dead Redemption, which spend like 4 or 5 million, I don't know, maybe even more in the pre-launch phase to create the buzz around the internet. So we can take a little bit of learning from that. We can say initially pre-launch, your goal is to, okay, if you did your homework well, you are trying to generate awareness. So you need to you need to be in the top of the mind for your gamers to figure out, okay, there's this game going on, there's a bit of interest behind it to get people hooked on that. So during the pre-launch phase, you are purely looking at, again, just to roll back to what I said, organic growth, purely on content creation to make sure that you understand what are the nuances of each channel that you look out for, not necessarily just social. So those are the things you go there, and number one goal there is CPM. So even like Avi was saying, as little money as possible to get as many views to figure out how the initial phases look like. So that's ideal. Cheaper CPMs, in better views, number of views, then you have a good approach. So that's initially useful. And then talking about post-launch, it's very simple actually. It's much even better because it's purely ROAS based. So there's nothing more that I can say. It's more about CPAs, CPIs, LTV, ROAS oriented. So you can measure that, you can understand what's working well, and double down on which metrics are delivering very well. So pre-launch, of course, is a lot of homework, a lot of time, patience involved, but end of the day, we are marketers, so you need to be good with communications. So if you are expert in that domain and you communicate about your game, then it works very well, then you know what to monetize on later in the post-launch phase.
I'll use some of that perfectly, so we didn't need that 1 hour, right? Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's tricky because we are speaking about this, so everybody already had a bit of interesting points. Avi said about the CPM, so of course that's a very important CPIs. Initial metric to figure out what's working. So for sure. There's so much we can talk about this.
Like you can take like 2 hours maybe. We can just keep on talking, and like even the title says 360 marketing. You just don't have enough time to cover all the aspects. So just be happy with this one, guys. So we basically try to talk about different aspects of 360 marketing, but like at the end of the day, we need the reports, we need the measurements, right? So that's the set point. We see the results. We also need to report to the finance guys because we already spent tons of money. Now we're looking for ROIs and so on. So I know it's a general question. I'll be asking to all of you this one, so I can get a short answer because we have different business perspectives here. So what metrics are the key ones for your own markets and businesses?
I would say, again, CPM, how many views we got for the campaign and how much it cost the client. That's a big focus of ours as a TikTok agency. We're all about eyeballs. Another metric that we're looking at usually are installs, downloads, any type of measurable metric that can show direct conversion from marketing directly to actual money being earned by the client. And engagements, how many people actually interacted with the post and what those engagements are. There's a difference between a bunch of comments on a video saying cool or awesome versus a whole written manifesto and talking about the intricate details of the game and how they are so connected to it and it saved them from depression and
the whole story.
Exactly.
Storytelling.
Exactly.
Storytelling.
Everything is storytelling.
Yeah.
In my point of view, I will take it. That was We have the environmental impact, which we very much focus on the huge impact. Like how much impact we did, like how many sea turtles did we save, how many trees we planted. But in the gaming point of view, like every company that I'm speaking with, like Etica integration or huge integration or etc. For me, working in like coming as a monetization product in my way of being, this is what I did. It's really dependent on the game itself, but most of them will be session length, session progression, revenue for sure. And even if they finish the event or not, like we see uplift in all of these metrics. So I think for me, gaming side will be it. Environmental impact side will be how much impact actually we did in each activity, in each game, in every monetization strategy.
Yeah, okay, so it's two-sided when it comes to
Yeah.
purposes.
Well, I can add my 2 cents, not sure what's missing
Go
from
ahead,
what
Mark.
they already said. I would say purely again, depending on which phase you are in. So if you are in the initial phases where you are just in pre-launch, let's say, so you're looking at what kind of audiences you are getting, how long are they playing, how much are they engaged. So okay, softer ones like okay, how many stay 5 levels, let's say, how many play 10 levels, so you know what's the willingness of the audience there. That's another aspect to look at. But it really boils down when it comes to spending marketing dollars is what you can prove to the finance, like you said. It's worthwhile to continue and run this adventure, or let's figure out if it's working or not. So purely on ROAS, I would say if you're looking for initial, let's say CPIs are definitely a good metric to say how it will pick up because it comes in early, but then comes of course CPAs and you can calculate your ROAS. So that's really important to figure out where the dollar is going.
Yeah, indeed. So at the end of the day, we just need to report. So that's what matters. So I think we are already past the time.
With 1 minute.
Yeah.
Since all of us are here marketeers as usual, we need to go big selfie.
Yeah, maybe we can do that after the Q&A, if that's okay. You guys are up for selfie, right? So
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yeah, of course, close. There's some good energy. So probably will be in front, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gave that energy, so you have to be the face of that stuff. Alright, so maybe if you guys have any questions, we have like 2 more minutes to get your questions in. Maybe you can just lengthen a bit. But if you have any questions, shoot them now. Please.
Hi. Well, I really wonder, is there any example or reference that you might give us for inspiring as a 360-degree marketing for a game company, or any names of the company that you know that working well in marketing their game in 360 on-channel?
You asking me?
All of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyone wants to?
Sure.
I was just going to say NetEase, one of our clients, one of the biggest gaming companies in the world, they lean heavily on influencer marketing. Every game that they release, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars on influencer marketing, and that's not even touching up on their other forms of marketing, which I don't know what they're doing over there. But it's a great example of a gaming company that really goes heavily into influencer marketing.
I will add my beloved ex, Etica. Etica is doing an amazing job using like the traditional marketing with influencer marketing. Like they also, in my time, invented a song about bingo with like huge singers. You can look at YouTube. And I think it brought new blood to the game. Like bingo, it's a very old game in terms of DAO, and it brought a lot of young generation just to look at the game. If it stays or not, it's monetization point of view, but the influencer point of view of it was great.
If I can add, there are so many free sources to figure out who's doing what. To be honest, like TikTok, the example, have TikTok creator, and I think it's called TikTok Creator Center or something like this.
TikTok Creator Marketplace.
Creative Marketplace, that's right. So you can basically go and figure out if you know, learn, okay, what your competitors are doing, or if you know to figure out which particular game you want to search for, search that hashtag. You'll see how many times that video was watched and what the click-through rates are to figure out, okay, what was working in X, Y, Z. So instead of, again, we have too many examples, but I would say depending on what your title is for, so just look out for this kind of free tools. It gives a broader spectrum of knowledge about what's working for them particularly. So why did they double down on particular strategies?
Thank you. So, sorry, but we probably won't be able to get that one because we are already running out of time. So, just thanking everyone, thanking a lot of the panelists for sharing valuable insights with us today, and thank you all for being here and being part of this. So, see you around at the conference. So maybe we can do a quick selfie. Just a minute. All right.
1 minute.
Give it 30 seconds.
Yeah, you are the host, so you need to do it.
Okay.
All right. You want to see the energy though?
Yeah, say Sababa or something.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Sababa!
One more.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.